Well, I'll just go back in the 60s when when we found out that he was teaching a Hong Kong cha-cha dance, and so we invited him over to our club. And that's the first time I met him. Of course, I figured he was a good dancer, and that's about it. I never dreamed that he'd going to be a martial artist until during intermission time, he went through a few moves, and it was quite impressive. After the dance session was over with, I got him aside, and I said, "What kind of martial art is that?" So he called it Wing Chun. See, I says, "I like to move." I says, "It's something that I never seen before." So we got talking about he's going to Seattle, and I said, "When you're back this way, I would like to get a group and have you for our instructor." So that was a beginning that I got acquainted with Bruce, that he was a martial artist, not just a good dancer. I never dreamed that he could be that fast. That would impress me, that someone that I'd never seen making move as fast as that. At first, he screened everybody that come to the class. Of course, we only had about 5, later on 6, and then later on we got some from the Oakland Police Department. And of course, like I say, he screened people. Is that they ask him, "What do you want to learn martial art for?" See? And if you give a wrong answer, like "I'm going to beat up my neighbor's kids" or something, then he wouldn't accept you. And as an instructor, well, it's really something. He's so strict, doing our exercise first, and exercise is really strenuous. But we went through it. But he was a really good teacher. He teaches self-discipline, and he have a good attitude, and is pliable. And really, everything I learned from China, it just went down the drain. What he teaches me is just out of this world, and I figure that I'm going to accomplish quite a bit from him. Well, my personal JKD is that what Bruce taught me is so precise and so shortcut, and everything is on center line, and there's no waste of movement, and I think that's the ultimate. I don't think I can learn any more about martial art is what he taught me, and I cherish that, and he's going to stay with me as long as I live. Bruce was quite an interesting guy. Like I say, when we go to luncheon or dinner, he's always getting napkins and start sketching. I made the punching bag for him that he usually punches while he eats. It's just a small little bag. At first we fill with beans, and later on he end up filling with BB shots. And then the food he eats, he only have the same thing all the time. He never changes it. A bottle of Coke and soy sauce, beef oyster sauce, and rice. And that seemed like that's his diet. And like I say, after dinner or after lunch, we'd go walk through Chinatown, and he's always on the move. And like I say, if there was a pot of flour in the sidewalk with like a tree, he would punch those leaves. He'd kick at it. And I said, I never met a guy that moves so much. He never stands still. He's always moving. If he's going to punch you in the arm, he'll punch you in the arm, you know. but he's not going to hurt you. But he's a playful guy, and he's one in a million because the guy is so playful, and it's really comical to be with a guy like him. He's so down to earth, low key, and like I say, if he likes you, he'll do anything for you. Through the Green Hornet set, we would be one in a mob scene or moving the Black Beauty, the car with him in it, and how they film the action of him and the Green Hornet go to the driving scene, and then after lunch break, why I couldn't believe it. All the worker there, like the script boy and whatever, that the script girl, they all learn to kick like he does, and it's really fun that the whole crew would go through a session like that, and it really cracks me up. And then later on, after the scene was over with, we went to visit the other studio of Batman and Robin. And then went to Peyton Place and meet all the rest of the movie stars. Because like Bruce, he just liked to show us off. And we had a great time. Well, everybody admired him, of what he can do as a martial artist. I mean, people in those days couldn't believe that a guy like Bruce can do what he can do, and as a matter of fact, he brought martial art into this world, and people admire him because he's really good. Well, you see, back in those days, you hard to find any training equipment at the sporting goods store. So, well, we went the hard way. So we have to build our own. And although it's primitive, but it's workable. And he got all kind of ideas. And whatever he needed to build up his hands or build up his wrists or build up his midsection, he would think about, let's see what we can do about this, see? Not just doing sit-up and all, but let's think of something that can build up our forearm, we say. So we got the idea of making this wrist roller and gripping machine. And we go through the drawing board quite often. We made one, and it's not going to work. Let's gotta improvise and do it better. So that's how we make our equipment, is that we make a drawing, we don't know what size is it. After I make it, and he wasn't satisfied, or maybe it should be a little heavier, or the handle should be a little longer, then we go through it again and make it until we perfected this piece of equipment, and he's happy. And we had a great time doing these things. Of course, you're going to find out how this started between Bruce and I about building things, is that when we had the school in Oakland, he kept all his receipts in a shoebox, paper shoebox, and I said, that's no good. So I made him a couple of metal boxes, and he said, hey, you do this kind of stuff? I said, yeah, it's part of my trade. And from then on, it got the ball rolling, and so all this equipment came into light. It's just acts that he wanted it. So it was when I had it made. It was at the foundry as a mold. I made the mold. So after he came out of the foundry, it was so rough. So I had to do a lot of filing and a lot of grinding and get it nice and smooth, so I can put it into this long staff. It's a beautiful job. but by that time he already went to Hong Kong they wanted him over there to do movie. So I said, I'm going to keep it here until he comes back. And it was all made out of brass. It was a beautiful piece of equipment. That's the thing that he always liked. And another time, he wanted a sword. I said I couldn't make a sword, so I went down to Chinatown and bought a sword. And I never forgot that we went on the plane there. The steward said, "You can't bring that on board. You better put it aside." I told her, I said, "I can't let go of this." And she said, "Okay." She said, "You're responsible for it." I kept that. It's about at least 5 foot long, and I hang on to it all the way from Oakland to L.A. to present it to him. That was for his birthday. I feel great that I can improve his body, and I'm really satisfied because after all, he's my Sifu and my master. And whatever I did is from the bottom of my heart, and I enjoy doing it. Matter of fact, I've been asked, "What else, Bruce?" You know. But like I say, it make a better man out of me. I guess that's why I'm living so long. I was really proud of him, and especially in his first movie, you know, he showed off his body, and I said, "Hey, I got something to do with that," you know. And I'm glad that he's making a movie and show off his expertise of martial art. My fondest memory is that when he invited me down to his home so many times, and he can take me aside and teach me a few moves that he never taught anybody else. And I never break boards before, and he taught me how to break boards, and or these high kicks. And the place he took me to, when I was down there, it was so personal that just him and I. And, well, that's one of the greatest moments I had with Bruce, is when him and I together, we can sit down and talk about things. Matter of fact, I didn't sleep all night that night. We talked all night long about my future and philosophy. Oh wow, you know, it's great. That's one of my precious moments with Bruce. He's the greatest. He's the ultimate. There's only one Bruce Lee, and. You know, he's a martial artist he's a great martial artist among martial artists. There's no one can take his place as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I really miss him, and maybe one day I meet up with him, he can show me a few more moves. And that's why I think about my Sifu, my mentor, that he's the only one that I really look up to.